I found a pair of boxers in our laundry. They weren't mine. It seems like such a simple thing, right? But sometimes, it's the little things that unravel the biggest mysteries. My name is Jake, and I've been married to Lisa for nearly 7 years. Our relationship was once the envy of our friends. We both worked hard, shared our lives, and had a routine that felt comfortable. But as I stood in the laundry room that fateful Saturday afternoon, separating our clothes, I felt the ground shift beneath me. I hadn't noticed the signs at first. Lisa had always been a bit of a social butterfly, but lately she seemed more distracted. Late nights at work, mysterious phone calls, and an inexplicable distance grew between us. I brushed it aside, thinking it was just the stress of her job. She worked in marketing and often had late nights to meet deadlines. I wanted to be understanding. After all, we all have our off days. But these little changes started to weigh on me. When I stumbled upon the boxers, black silk with a playful pattern, I froze. My mind raced. I turned them over, half expecting to find some sort of joke. A prank maybe. But there in the waistband I saw a name etched into the fabric. Brian. My heart sank. Who the hell is Brian? My mind flashed through the memories of the past few months, trying to connect the dots. Lisa had never mentioned anyone named Brian. I confronted her that evening, my stomach churning with anxiety. I wanted to be calm, collected, but it was difficult. I waited until dinner was over and the plates were cleared. She sat across from me, scrolling through her phone just like always. I took a deep breath. I could feel the tension building in my chest. "Lisa, we need to talk," I started, trying to sound more composed than I felt. "I found something in the laundry today." She glanced up, a flicker of curiosity and annoyance crossing her face. "What now, Jake? I'm tired. Can't it wait?" "No, it can't wait." I pushed the boxers across the table toward her. They're not mine." Her face paled for a moment, and I could see the gears turning in her mind. She opened her mouth to speak but quickly closed it, as if searching for the right words. I must have mixed them up at the gym. You know how chaotic it can get there. My heart raced and I couldn't help but scoff. "The gym? How often do you bring laundry home from the gym?" She hesitated, her expression shifting from surprise to irritation. "I don't know, Jake. Maybe once or twice. You're making a big deal out of nothing." "Nothing," I shot back, feeling the anger bubbling to the surface. "This isn't nothing, Lisa. There's a name on it. Who is Brian?" "I told you it's just someone from the gym," she insisted, her voice rising defensively. "You're being ridiculous." I leaned back, trying to process her response. "Ridiculous? You think I'm being ridiculous for questioning this? For questioning you?" Suddenly, a whirlwind of accusations and excuses exploded between us. She claimed I was paranoid, that I was always looking for trouble. I told her I felt like there was someone else, and she laughed it off, rolling her eyes like I was some pathetic fool. In that moment, any semblance of the relationship we'd built started to fade. I felt a mix of betrayal and confusion. How could someone I loved so deeply lie so easily? I wanted to scream, to shake her until she admitted the truth, but I didn't. Instead, I felt a crushing weight settle in my chest. After the confrontation, I retreated to the living room, feeling hollow. A battle was raging in my heart and mind. The person I thought I knew was slipping away, and what remained felt foreign and hostile. I couldn't help but replay our conversation over and over, desperately searching for the truth hidden behind her words. At that moment, I knew I had to get to the bottom of this. The boxers were just the tip of the iceberg. I had to uncover the reality lurking beneath the surface, no matter how painful it might be. Little did I know, this was only the beginning of a journey filled with betrayal, secrets, and the devastating fallout of a shattered trust. I had to find out what was really going on before it consumed me. The days that followed were a blur of tension and confusion. I found it impossible to act normal around Lisa. Every time she walked into a room, I tensed, expecting her to be the same bubbly woman I married. But the more I watched her, the more I questioned everything. Each innocent smile felt fake. Each laugh felt rehearsed. I started noticing little things that had previously slipped under my radar. The way she hesitated when I asked about her day. The way she would abruptly change the subject if I probed too deeply. I couldn't shake the feeling that I was living in a house built on lies. After the confrontation, I resolved to dig deeper. I began to pay attention to her phone habits, the way she kept it close, how she'd often type furiously and then put it down when I entered the room. My gut instinct told me she was hiding something. One night after she went to bed, I found myself sitting on the edge of our bed, staring at her phone charging on the nightstand. It felt like a ticking time bomb, one that could explode with the truth at any moment. My heart raced as I picked it up, weighing my options. I had never invaded her privacy before, but this felt different. I was desperate for answers, for anything that could make sense. Chaos. I unlocked her phone without too much trouble. I felt guilty and exhilarated all at once, like I was crossing a line I could never uncross. The screen was filled with notifications, messages from a contact labeled B. My pulse quickened. I tapped on it and there it was, a long thread of flirty texts and emojis. Each message made my stomach churn. They were planning to meet up, making inside jokes I didn't understand, and the language was intimate, far too intimate for a gym buddy. I scrolled back, my heart dropping with each interaction I read. She had been texting him for weeks, at least 3 months if I were to judge by the timestamps. As I read through the messages, it became painfully clear. Lisa was cheating on me. The realization hit like a punch to the gut, knocking the breath from my lungs. I felt sick, betrayed, and utterly lost. The woman I loved had been betraying me right under my nose. I put her phone back down and sat in the dark, my mind racing with anger, shock, and betrayal. I thought about all the evenings I'd spent waiting for her to come home while she was off giving her time and affection to someone else. I thought about how I had defended her when our friends joked about her late nights, trusting her without question. In that moment, all I could feel was a deep, consuming rage. I wanted to confront her right then and there, but I decided to take a step back. I needed to be strategic about this. I couldn't just explode and let my emotions dictate my actions. I needed a plan, a way to get the answers I needed without tipping her off. The next day, I acted as if everything was normal. I went to work, came home, and shared a dinner with Lisa. She talked about her day, oblivious to the storm brewing inside me. I nodded along, but my mind was racing, formulating a plan. I needed to gather evidence and confront her with undeniable proof. She had toyed with my trust, and now it was my turn to play the game. I started snooping around, looking for anything that could help me piece together the timeline of her affair. I rummaged through her things, keeping an eye out for anything unusual. I found receipts from restaurants I didn't recognize, and a few late-night phone calls to that same B number when she had claimed to be with friends. It was infuriating how easily she had slipped into deceit. After a week of this, I decided to take a different approach. Instead of just monitoring her texts, I wanted to see if I could catch her in the act. I started to change my schedule, working late a few nights and pretending to have plans with friends. I wanted to see if she would slip up. Every time she walked out the door, I felt a mix of anxiety and determination. I was ready to confront her, but I needed to see her with him, an undeniable truth that would leave no room for excuses. During one of those nights when I had feigned plans, I decided to follow her. I felt like a private investigator, my heart racing as I drove behind her car, determined to learn the truth. My stomach flipped as I noticed she was headed to a local bar, one I had never heard her mention. I parked a short distance away and watched her enter. It was surreal, this feeling of being both an outsider and a part of my own life. I waited, my nerves taut, watching as time passed. Eventually, I saw her laughing and talking with a man who looked strikingly familiar. That was Brian. A mixture of anger and heartbreak surged through me as I watched them. They were leaning in close, sharing secrets, their chemistry palpable. My pulse quickened, and I felt the urge to storm in there, confront them, and demand all the answers. But I held back, knowing I needed to remain composed. I recorded everything on my phone, a video that would serve as evidence. My world was crumbling around me, but I was determined to piece together the fragments of my shattered reality. I could no longer pretend everything was fine. I was standing on the precipice of a reckoning, and I wouldn't back down until the truth was revealed. I had to confront her, and when I did, it would be with the undeniable evidence of her betrayal. The confrontation was looming over me like a dark cloud, and I could feel the tension building inside me. After what I witnessed that night, I knew I had to approach Lisa with the truth. I played the video back on my phone countless times, my insides churning with anger and pain. It was a confirmation of everything I had feared, a betrayal so profound that my entire world felt upside down. A few days later, I decided it was time to face her. I could no longer live in this limbo of suspicion and doubt. That evening, I set the stage carefully. I made dinner, hoping to create an atmosphere that would encourage openness, even though my heart was pounding in my chest. I wanted her to feel safe, to think that we were just having a regular evening together. As she walked in, I watched her closely, searching for any signs of guilt or deceit. She greeted me with a warm smile and launched into a story about her day at work. I nodded along, but my mind was racing, rehearsing the words I needed to say. Once we finished dinner, I took a deep breath and looked her in the eye. "Lisa, we need to talk about something serious," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. The smile faded from her face. "What is it? You look Irius. "I know about Brian," I said, my voice firm. "I saw you with him last week." Her face paled, and for a moment I thought I saw panic in her eyes. "What are you talking about?" she asked, the edge in her tone unmistakable. "You must be mistaken." "No, I'm not. I have a video of you two together. You can't deny it. You've been lying to me." "Jake, this is ridiculous," she exclaimed, her voice climbing higher. "You're imagining things. Just because you saw me at a bar doesn't mean anything." "Really? Then what does it mean?" I shot back, my anger flaring. "You were all over him. You were laughing and flirting in a way you haven't done with me in months." "I was just being friendly," she protested, her eyes darting away from mine. "You know how I am. I'm just social." "Social? This goes way beyond that, Lisa. I have the evidence, and you can't talk your way out of this one," I said, pulling out my phone and showing her the video. As the clip played, I watched her face as it morphed through shock, anger, and eventually denial. "This is all a misunderstanding. You don't know the context," she yelled, her voice rising as she tried to grab my phone from me. I pulled it back, keeping my grip firm. "What context could possibly justify what you did? You've been cheating on me. Don't you dare try to downplay this." She stumbled back, her composure cracking. "I didn't mean to hurt you, Jake. It just happened." Tears welled in her eyes, but I could see the defensive walls she was trying to maintain. "It was a mistake, a stupid mistake." "Stupid mistake," I echoed, feeling a mix of disbelief and rage. "You don't just accidentally end up in bed with someone else. You made a choice, Lisa. This isn't just some minor error. You chose to betray me." "I was lonely. You've been distant. You've changed. I felt like you didn't care anymore," she shouted, her voice trembling with emotion, but her excuses only fueled my anger further. "Lonely? So you decided to look for love in someone else's arms. What about us, Lisa? What about all the years we invested into our relationship?" The pain in my chest felt like a heavy weight threatening to crush me. "I never stopped caring," she insisted, her voice breaking. I wanted to feel alive again. It's been hard, Jake. You have to understand." I shook my head, feeling the betrayal wash over me. "No, Lisa, you don't get to justify this. You don't get to blame me for your choices. You made this decision, and now you have to own it." The raw emotions hung thick in the air, a palpable tension that felt like it could snap at any moment. I took a step back, trying to gather my thoughts. "What do you want from me? Do you want me to forgive you, to pretend like this never happened? I want you to understand how I felt," she cried, her voice rising. "I didn't mean for it to go this far. I felt my heart harden. Understand? You want me to understand betrayal. You think all of this can just be swept under the rug. Please just give me a chance to explain," she pleaded, desperation etched across her face. I held my breath, feeling a rush of conflicting emotions. There was a part of me that wanted to continue the conversation, to dig deeper and understand what had led her to this point. But another part of me was tired, exhausted from the betrayal and deceit. "I can't keep doing this," I finally said, my voice steady but weary. "You need to really think about what you've done. This isn't something we can brush aside. I need time to process all of this." As I walked away, I could hear her sobbing behind me, but I didn't turn back. I felt like I was walking away from a life I had built, a life that had suddenly become a facade. The emotional toll was staggering. I combed through memories of our relationship, wondering where things had gone wrong. It felt as if the foundation of our marriage had crumbled in an instant. I needed to figure out what to do next. The path ahead was uncertain, but one thing was clear. I couldn't go back to the way things were before. I had to decide if I could ever trust her again. And more importantly, I had to decide if I still wanted her in my life. After the confrontation, I was left with a swirling mix of emotions that threatened to drown me. I spent the next few days in a state of denial, vacillating between anger and sorrow. I could barely focus at work, and my mind was constantly replaying the moment she had confessed to her infidelity. I would find myself staring blankly at my computer screen, thoughts drifting to her tears and the way she had tried to justify her actions. One evening I came home and found Lisa sitting on the couch, her face red and puffy from crying. My heart softened for just a moment, but the heavy weight of betrayal quickly crushed that impulse. I didn't want to comfort her. I didn't want to feel sorry for her. The reality was that she had shattered the trust we had built, and it felt impossible to see beyond that. "Jake," she said softly, looking up at me with pleading eyes. "I'm so sorry. I've been thinking a lot about everything, and I want to make it right. I want to fix this." Part of me wanted to believe her, to hold on to the hope that our marriage could be salvaged. But another part of me screamed that I couldn't forget what she had done, that this wasn't something that could just be patched up with apologies. "Fix this?" I questioned, my voice low and steady. "How can we fix something that's been broken beyond repair?" "I know it won't be easy," she admitted, tears spilling down her cheeks. "But I'm willing to do whatever it takes. I love you, Jake. I want you to know that." "Do you? Because love isn't just words, Lisa." I took a deep breath, trying to remain calm. "Love is loyalty, trust, and respect. You stripped that away the moment you let him into your life." She flinched at my words, her eyes filling with more tears. "I understand how that sounds, and I can't take back what I did, but I want to prove to you that I can be better. I can be the wife you deserve." I felt a pang of sympathy, but I quickly pushed it aside. "Proving it will take time, Lisa. It's not something you can just say and expect me to believe you. Need to see it in your actions." "Then let me show you," she pleaded, reaching out for my hand. I hesitated, but eventually allowed her to grasp it. For the next week, I tried to navigate this new dynamic. We talked more openly, but there was a barrier between us that felt insurmountable. I found myself scrutinizing every gesture, every word she said. I wondered if they were genuine or just a performance she was putting on to win my trust back. Each time she said, "I love you," I felt a flicker of hope mingled with doubt. I also started to share my feelings more openly. I told her how hurt I was, how betrayed I felt. I explained that I couldn't just move on from this. The emotional scars were too deep. Yet she remained committed to showing me she could change. I saw little efforts. She started leaving her phone unlocked, texting me updates when she was with friends. Still, it felt like a constant reminder of everything that had happened. Then came the fateful day when I found myself facing Lisa's phone again. I had promised her I would trust her, but it was hard to shake the paranoia that had taken root. I picked it up and unlocked it, my heart racing as I scanned through her messages. What I found shocked me to my core. She was still texting Brian. The messages were less flirtatious than before, but they were still there, lingering like a ghost between us. I felt a fresh wave of betrayal wash over me, combined with a fiery anger. How could she say she was committed to rebuilding our marriage while still keeping the lines of communication open with the man who had come between us? I stormed into the living room, my heart pounding. "Lisa, we need to talk again," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. She looked up, confusion turning to concern as she saw my expression. "What's wrong?" I tossed her phone onto the couch. "I just checked your messages. Why are you still texting Brian?" Her face paled, and I could practically see her heart drop. "Jake, it's not what you think. I was just trying to end things properly. I swear I didn't mean for it to go on this long." "End things?" I yelled, my frustration bubbling. "Over? How am I supposed to believe that when you're still in contact with him? Do you even understand how hurtful this is? Please, just let me explain," she begged, her panic rising. "I was going to tell you. I thought it would ruin everything if I brought it up again. I thought I could distance myself gradually." "Gradually?" I scoffed. "You've been saying that for weeks. How many times do I have to find excuses for you?" Tears streamed down her face as she shook her head. "I never wanted to hurt you, Jake. I thought I could manage everything, and I was trying to figure out how to move forward without causing more pain." Her words felt hollow to me. The hurt I had experienced was still fresh, and I was tired of the excuses. "You should have cut all ties the moment you decided to fight for our marriage. Instead, you're still holding on to the past." "I'm not holding on," she pleaded. I didn't know how to let go. I was scared. I still am. Scared." My heart ached at her vulnerability, but it didn't change the fact that she had betrayed me. "You should have thought about that before you decided to sleep with someone else. Your choices hurt me, Lisa, and I need you to understand how serious this is." "I do understand, I'm trying," she cried. I could see her sincerity, but my anger was still simmering. "It's not enough," I said firmly, my voice barely above a whisper. "If we're going to make this work, I need you to cut him out of your life. No more contact, no more excuses. I can't heal if you're still holding on to a piece of that life." "Okay," she said, her voice trembling. "I'll do it. I'll block him, I promise. Just give me a chance." In that moment, I recognized the fragile thread we were on. The decision was clear. If she was serious about rebuilding our relationship, she needed to prove it in actions, not just words. Trust was a fragile thing, and it would take more than heartfelt apologies to mend what had been broken. As she reached for my hand again, something shifted inside me. The path ahead was uncertain, filled with twists and turns I couldn't predict. But I knew one thing: it would take time and commitment to navigate through this mess. I was willing to try, but it had to be on my terms. I needed to learn how to trust again, and it wouldn't be easy. But for the first time since the revelation, there was a glimmer of hope buried beneath the pain. Perhaps we could still find a way forward, if only we both committed to being honest and forthright. The road to healing lay ahead, but it was a long and winding journey, and I was ready to face it, one step at a time. In the weeks that followed our intense confrontation, I found myself navigating a minefield of emotions. Trust, once the foundation of our marriage, now felt like quicksand, and every step I took threatened to pull me under. Lisa had taken the step of blocking Brian, as she had promised, but I was still left grappling with the ghosts of our past. Every time her phone buzzed, a knot tightened in my stomach. I had become hyper-aware of her interactions, constantly searching for hidden meanings in her words or gestures. Although she was making an effort to be more transparent, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was living in a fragile house of cards. One evening, as we sat in the living room, I couldn't help but bring up the topic. "How are you feeling about everything?" I asked, trying to gauge her commitment to moving forward. She looked at me, her eyes reflecting a mix of determination and anxiety. "I know I messed up, and I'm really trying to make things right. I just want to move past this." "Yeah, but it's not that simple, is it?" I replied, feeling frustration bubbling up again. "You can't expect me to just forget what happened. It's going to take time for you to rebuild my trust." "I get that," she said, her voice rising slightly. "But I need you to meet me halfway. I'm doing everything I can to show you that I want this to work." I nodded, feeling the weight of her words. I wanted to believe her, but the scars from her betrayal still stung. "I appreciate that, but I need to see more than just words. What else are you willing to do to prove it?" "I'm willing to go to counseling if that's what it takes," she suggested, her eyes earnest. "I want us to work through this together. I'll do anything." The idea of counseling felt both promising and daunting. I had always thought of therapy as a last resort, but it seemed like a necessary step at this point. "Okay," I said, trying to keep my tone measured. "Let's look for a therapist together. But I want you to know I'm not doing this just to fix the cracks. I need to know you're committed to changing." "I am, I promise," she said, her voice softening. "I don't want to lose you, Jake. I love you, and I want to make this right." As we began to explore therapy options, I felt a flicker of hope. Maybe this was the step we needed to begin mending our relationship. Over the next few weeks, we attended sessions that forced us to face the raw truth of our situation. Each session was emotionally taxing, but they provided a space to communicate openly and honestly, which we desperately needed. During one session, the therapist guided us into a discussion about intimacy, both emotional and physical. I watched Lisa as she spoke about her feelings of loneliness and how she had sought validation outside our marriage. It was painful to hear, but it forced us to confront the root issues that had contributed to her infidelity. After a particularly intense session, we went home feeling drained but a little more connected. We sat on the couch, exhausted from digging up painful memories. "I know this is hard for you," Lisa said softly, reaching for my hand. "But I think we're starting to understand each other better. I'm really committed to this." "I hope so," I said, looking into her eyes. "I want to believe that we can come out stronger on the other side, but we have to be honest with each other. This is going to take a lot of work." "I'm ready," she assured me. "I don't want to go back to how things were. I want to rebuild something better." Days turned into weeks, and while some moments felt like progress, others were a painful reminder of what we'd lost. I still had moments of doubt. There were times I caught myself overthinking her late nights at work or her phone buzzing with messages. Each time, I'd find myself spiraling back into insecurity, questioning her commitment all over again. One night, I stayed up late, scrolling through social media when I stumbled upon a picture of Lisa that made my heart race. A group photo from a recent outing with friends, and there was Brian, smiling and standing too close to her for my comfort. My emotions surged like a tidal wave, the anger bubbled up again, and I felt my heart pound in my chest. "Jake, what's wrong?" Lisa asked groggily as she walked into the living room, having heard me shift in my chair. I didn't even hesitate. I held out my phone toward her, my voice laced with frustration. What the hell is this?" Her eyes widened as she took in the picture. "Oh, that was from a few weeks ago. I didn't think it was a big deal. It's just a group photo." "Just a group photo?" I echoed incredulously. "You're in the picture with him. This is exactly what I was worried about. You said you were done with him." "I am," she insisted, her voice rising defensively. "That was just a casual outing. I didn't plan it, I swear. I had no idea he would be there." "Maybe you should have thought about that before you went out," I snapped, feeling the anger boil over. "I can't keep doing this, Lisa. You say you want to fix this, but I feel like you're still entangled in that life." "I'm trying," she cried, her voice breaking. "I thought we were making progress." "You can't keep throwing this in my face. Progress? You're still letting him into your life," I shouted, my frustration reaching a boiling point. "I didn't realize it would upset you like this." She shot back, her eyes now filled with tears. "I thought we were past this." I ran a hand through my hair in frustration. "You need to understand that I'm not going to forget what you did. I don't want to feel like I'm competing with him." "I need more than just your words. You need to understand the depth of this betrayal." "Jake, please," she pleaded, stepping closer to me. "I'm here with you. I want to rebuild our life together. I'm not going back to him." "Then prove it," I exclaimed, my voice cracking with emotion. "If you truly want us to move forward, you need to be conscious of how your actions affect me. It's about more than just saying you love me. It's about showing me every single day. Otherwise, what's the point?" She nodded, her expression shifting from anger to understanding. "You're right. I need to be more aware of how my actions affect you, and I will work on it. I promise." It felt like a turning point, but I still couldn't shake the reminder of her deceit. I was beginning to understand that healing wouldn't happen overnight. We needed to continue working through these issues together and rebuild from the ground up. That night, as we lay in bed, I felt a glimmer of hope amidst the turmoil. The road ahead remained uncertain, filled with twists and turns, but I was willing to take that journey together, step by step. We had a long way to go, but for the first time in a while, I felt like maybe, just maybe, we could find our way back to each other. It wouldn't be easy, but I was willing to fight for us. The following weeks were a mix of hard work and emotional turmoil. Lisa and I continued our counseling sessions, and while they were often uncomfortable, they forced us to confront some difficult truths. Each session felt like peeling back layers of hurt and resentment, exposing the raw wounds that lay underneath. But with every session, I slowly began to feel a flicker of hope igniting within me. As the days turned into months, Lisa put in the effort to show me that she was serious about rebuilding our relationship. She became more attentive, more present. She communicated openly about her feelings, and while there were still moments of doubt, I started to see glimpses of the woman I had fallen in love with. We began to redefine what intimacy meant for us, not just in the physical sense but emotionally as well. One evening, after a particularly enlightening counseling session, we sat on the couch together, both exhausted but willing to explore the depths of our relationship. "I know I've hurt you," she said, her voice steady but soft, "but I want to show you that I can be the partner you need. I want us to move forward." I looked at her, taking in the sincerity in her eyes. "I want to believe in us again, Lisa, but it's hard. Trust is not something that comes back easily." "I get that," she replied, her voice trembling slightly. "I'll do everything I can to earn that trust back. I promise you I'm committed to making this work." As we spoke, I felt the weight of our journey pressing heavily upon us. It was a fragile moment, one where everything felt connected. "Do you think we can really make this work?" I asked, searching her eyes for any hint of doubt. "I do," she said, her expression unwavering. "But I know it's going to take time, effort, and a lot of honesty." I nodded, feeling a mix of hope and apprehension. I wanted to believe that we could overcome this, that we could rebuild our love stronger than before. "I need you to promise me something," I said, needing clarity as we stepped into this new chapter. "If anything ever feels off again, I want you to communicate with me. Don't let it fester." "I promise," she said earnestly. "I'll be transparent. I don't want to go through this again." As the days turned into weeks, we settled into a new routine. We made date nights a priority, and slowly but surely I started to feel the weight of the past lift, even if only a little. We found laughter again, shared moments that made us feel connected. I even began to appreciate the small things: a shared cup of coffee in the morning, the way she would curl up against me while watching TV, the warmth of her hand in mine. Yet, the shadows of her betrayal lingered in the background, a constant reminder of how easily things could crumble. I knew I still had to be vigilant about my own healing. I started journaling my thoughts and feelings, a way to process the complexities of our relationship. One evening, as we sat together at our favorite local restaurant, I felt a sense of calm wash over me. We were laughing, sharing stories, and for the first time in a long while, I felt the barriers between us begin to dissolve. In that moment, I realized that love is not just about perfection, it's about resilience, about finding a way through the darkness together. "Jake," she said, her eyes lighting up, "I feel like we're finally moving forward. It feels good." "It does," I replied, a smile breaking across my face. "I'm proud of us for sticking through this." As the night wound down, I found myself feeling lighter, more hopeful than I had in months. I could see the commitment in her actions, the sincerity in her words. She was fighting for us, and I was ready to fight too. It was then that I understood the importance of rebuilding trust. It's not an overnight process. It's a journey of vulnerability, of confronting fears, and of choosing each other every single day. I realized that while the scars of betrayal would always be a part of our story, they didn't have to define our future. In the months that followed, we continued to grow together. Our relationship transformed into something nuanced and deep, moving beyond the initial hurt and into a renewed connection. I learned to let go of the past gradually, understanding that it was part of our journey but not the destination. As we celebrated our anniversary, I looked at Lisa across the candlelit table, her smile radiant and genuine. I took her hand, feeling the warmth radiating between us. "You know, I thought I would never be able to trust you again, but here we are." "I love you, Jake," she said, her eyes shimmering with emotion. "Thank you for believing in us." "I'm learning to believe again," I replied. "And I'm grateful for the chance to rebuild." In that moment, I knew we had come a long way. We were not the same couple we once were, and that was okay. We had faced the storm together and emerged on the other side, stronger than before. As I reflected on our journey, I felt a sense of peace settle within me. We weren't perfect, but we were committed to each other, ready to embrace whatever came next. I had learned that love can endure through adversity, and that sometimes it's the hardest battles that lead to the most profound growth. I was ready for whatever the future held, as long as we faced it together.